Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X researcher. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one's entitled The Earth Virtual Reality versus the Matrix. Now, in the previous video entitled The Nature of Reality Virtual, I explained in a simple a way as I could how I came to understand that the world we live in is not real. We do not live on a physical planet orbiting a physical star within a physical universe. This is not an easy thing to wrap one's mind around. When you live from earliest childhood with colors of objects constantly changing, a red light looks pink in the mirror, a blue-green car looks greener in the darkened house, and bluer outside, for example, it all seems normal. It is hard to see that this should not be happening if the colors of objects were due to light coming from a light source, like the sun, that our planet is supposedly orbiting. And it is even harder to take that realization to its final conclusion, which is that we are essentially living within a cartoon, which is just a series of computer-generated graphics, and that therefore this is what our world is, a computer-generated reality. It took me some time to accept that this is reality. The world is virtual. Along the way, I searched in my environment for confirmation. I noticed once whilst watching TV in a dark room at night that the reflection of the TV screen on the floor did not coincide with what was showing on the TV screen. There were dark shadows passing on the TV screen. And these were not quite in an absolute regular pattern. And the positions were often very different from what was seen in the reflection of the TV screen on the floor. So this showed me that the reflection was independently generated. In other words, it was not a reflection at all. It was like the reflections that you would see in a cartoon. In the old way of making a cartoon, drawing frame by frame, the artist would have to create the object that produces a reflection and the reflection independently of the object. This is what I had to do when I did this. I drew the TV screen and then I drew the reflection of the TV screen on the floor. Of course, it's darkened because it's a wooden floor. It's at night and it's a shiny floor, so you can see a reflection of the TV. It has to be drawn independently. We would expect that artist to try to create an exact match, but not getting an exact match is only possible if the reflection is a cartoon-type reflection. In a real world, reflections always match the source of that reflection. So here's the TV screen and reflect the TV screen on the floor. That's what I portrayed here in this drawing. And the passage of shadows is represented here in the reflection. These do not match those passing in the TV screen. You can see they're not regular. Some are thicker than others. But in the reflection, they were very regular. And so this showed me that this is a cartoon type reflection, not obtained through the reflection of light coming from the TV screen. Obviously, if it was reflecting the light on the TV screen, it would exactly match what was seen on the TV screen. So the conclusion can only be that I'm living in a cartoon type world, a virtual world, something like a completely immersive computer game where everything I see, hear, and touch with my virtual body is due to stimulating impulses coming directly to my mind. My eyes and ears are virtual. No impulses are actually coming through those channels. The impulses are stimulating some point in my mind that causes it to interpret them as light and sound, and my body touching something. In other words, my mind interprets them as the virtual world that I see around me. So here's a Tintin cartoon, and basically this is what we live in. And imagine what the world would look like from Tintin's perspective. This is our perspective. We see here green river water. I talked about that quite a bit, about green water, actually in the case of the ocean. Something which is seen in our virtual reality as well. So I talked about that in the previous video. And this occurs with no other possible explanation other than that is how the programmer of the Earth virtual reality wants it to look like at the moment. It's clearly not a reflection of the sky like my parents told me it was as a child, because the sky is never green. And it changes from moment to moment. It changes from moment to moment in a cartoon. From a few frames along, it changes to another color. And in the Earth virtual reality, it does the same thing. The next day, it will be some other shade of green, blue, or brown. And, of course, that happens all the time. Now, in the Matrix movies, people also live in a computer-generated virtual reality, complete with glitching, like the Earth virtual reality, which are purposeful and show that the programmer wants the people living in that reality to see, if they can accept it, that it is a virtual reality. So an example of that is this. An example of that is a green ocean when the sky's not green. And this happening is a glitch, and it's a message. And that happens in the Matrix movies as well. There's glitching. Another major theme in the Matrix movies is energy absorption. People are used as power sources for the machines running the virtual reality. And this is something which is happening in the Earth virtual reality as well. But what kind of energy is being absorbed? Well, we can answer that by realizing that what makes a person feel the most drained, and that is, well, if you have ever spent a few hours or a night crying over some hopeless situation in your life, or the loss of a loved one, you know that that is the exact thing that makes you feel the most drained. This suggests that the energy absorption is occurring through emotions that people generate in response to the situations they find themselves in within the virtual reality. And this means that the programmer is creating these scenarios, these painful scenarios, in order to absorb energy from people. Thoughts are energy, emotions are energy that people generate in response to the virtual reality scenarios they find themselves in. We know that we exist because we think and have emotions. This is what consciousness is. This means that we are units of consciousness, and the energy we generate is in the form of thoughts and emotions. And when emotions are negative, they are destructive or energy absorbing. So the Matrix portrays people as being trapped in pods, that's what we see here, and being used as energy sources. So this lightning type of thing there portrays the energy being absorbed. And this matches what is occurring in the Earth virtual reality. Energy is being absorbed from people, and people are trapped. And people are portrayed as beings with physical bodies in the Matrix movies. That's what we see here, a physical human body. This, however, does not match the Earth virtual reality. The only body we have is that supplied by the virtual reality. Physical bodies take too much energy to maintain and break down due to inactivity. So it's unreasonable for real people to have physical bodies and being in pods for a lifetime, as portrayed in the Matrix movies. A person is a consciousness energy source, a consciousness star. And that is what the universe is really made of. It is not made of stars emitting light in a physical universe, but of consciousness stars. People are consciousness stars. And therefore they are aware of thinking and emotions. Our existence implies that there is a creator, God, who created us. Our being in a position where we are being used as power sources by a programmer of the virtual reality we live in implies that an absorber of conscious energy, in other words, a destroyer, also exists and is the one programming our virtual reality in order to absorb our energy. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X researcher. Thank you for watching.